Lisa Martinez wiped the sweat from her forehead as she stared at the dead power generator. The massive machine sat silent in the basement of the New Haven Colony Administration Building. Red warning lights blinked everywhere, and the emergency backup power would not last much longer. "How long until the Zephyrian delegation arrives?" Lisa asked Tom Bradley, the colony's chief engineer. Her voice echoed in the hot, cramped basement. 2 hours, Tom replied, shaking his head. "And we still have no main power. The air conditioning is failing. The communication systems are running on backup, and the meeting room lights keep flickering." Lisa felt her stomach twist with worry. She was the communications officer for New Haven, a small mining colony on the edge of human space. Today was supposed to be the most important day in the colony's history. The Zephyrian Trade Council was coming to discuss a new mining contract that could make New Haven rich. Without power, the meeting would be a disaster. "Can you fix it?" Lisa asked. Tom looked at the generator and sighed. "I've been trying for 3 days. This thing is older than my grandfather. We need parts that cost more money than the colony has. Maybe if we had a real expert, but out here..." He shrugged helplessly. New Haven was far from Earth, far from the wealthy core worlds where real experts lived. It was a frontier colony where people came to start over, to mine rare metals, or to hide from their past. Most of the colonists were good people, but they were farmers, miners, and shopkeepers. None of them were master engineers. Lisa climbed the stairs back to the main floor, her mind racing. She had to find a solution. The Zephyrians were not known for their patience. If this meeting went badly, they might never get another chance, or... She walked through the colony's main street. She heard the sound of a shuttle landing at the small spaceport. Lisa did not expect any visitors today. Everyone who mattered was already on New Haven for the big meeting. She walked to the landing pad and saw a beat-up old cargo shuttle. The paint was faded, and there were dents and scratches all over the hull. The kind of ship that belonged to a trader or maybe someone looking for work. The shuttle's door opened with a loud hiss. A man stepped out, carrying a worn leather tool bag. He was tall and lean, with dark hair and calm brown eyes. His clothes were simple work coveralls, faded blue with oil stains on them. He looked like every other mechanic Lisa had ever seen. "Excuse me," the man said, walking toward her. His voice was gentle but confident. "I heard on the radio that you folks might need some help with a power problem." Lisa looked at him carefully. "Are you an engineer?" The man smiled. "I fix things. Name's Jake Collins." He held out his hand. Lisa shook it. His grip was firm and his hands were rough from hard work. "Lisa Martinez, I'm the communications officer here. We do have a power problem, but it's pretty serious. Our main generator is dead." "Mind if I take a look?" Jake asked. Lisa hesitated. Tom had been working on the generator for days with no luck. What could this stranger do? But they were running out of time and options. "Sure," she said. "Follow me." They walked back to the administration building. Lisa led Jake down to the basement where Tom was still working. The engineer looked up when they entered. "Tom, this is Jake Collins. He thinks he might be able to help with the generator," Lisa said. Tom stood up and wiped his hands on a rag. "I appreciate the offer, friend, but this is a Mark 7 fusion generator. These things are complicated. I've been working on them for 15 years, and this one has me beat." Jake walked over to the generator and opened his tool bag. Lisa expected to see normal tools, but the equipment inside looked different somehow. More advanced. Jake pulled out a small device that looked like a scanner and ran it over the generator's control panel. "Interesting," Jake said quietly. "Looks like you have a cascade failure in the magnetic containment field. The main problem is in the secondary regulator. It's not getting the right feedback signal." Tom stared at Jake. "How did you figure that out so fast?" Jake shrugged. "Pattern recognition. I've seen this problem before." He pulled out another tool, something that looked like a cross between a screwdriver and a computer tablet. "Mind if I try something?" "Go ahead," Tom said. "Can't make it any worse." Jake opened a panel on the side of the generator that Lisa had not even noticed before. He plugged his tool into a connection inside and started typing on the small screen. Numbers and symbols flowed across the display too fast for Lisa to follow. There, Jake said after a few minutes. Try starting it now. Tom looked skeptical but pressed the startup sequence on the main control panel. The generator hummed to life. The red warning lights turned green one by one. In seconds, the machine was running. Perfectly. That's impossible, Tom whispered. I checked that regulator a dozen times. Sometimes the problem isn't where you think it is, Jake said, putting his tools away. The regulator was fine. The issue was in the computer that talks to the regulator. Just needed to reset the communication protocol. Lisa felt relief wash over her. The lights in the basement were bright and steady now. She could hear the air conditioning starting up again upstairs. How much do we owe you? Lisa asked. Jake smiled. Nothing, just happy to help. Nothing? But you just saved our entire colony, Lisa said. Like I said, happy to help. You folks seem like good people. Jake picked up his tool bag. If you don't mind me asking, what was so important about getting this fixed today? Lisa explained about the Zephyrian Trade Council and how important the meeting was for New Haven's future. As she talked, she noticed Jake listening very carefully. He asked smart questions about the trade negotiations and seemed to know a lot about interstellar commerce. Well, I hope your meeting goes well, Jake said when she finished. The Zephyrians are tough negotiators, but they respect people who are prepared and honest. You know about Zephyrians? Tom asked. I get around, Jake said. Pick up things here and there. Lisa walked Jake back to his shuttle. As they walked, she found herself curious about this mysterious mechanic who could fix complex problems in minutes and seemed to know about alien politics. Are you staying on New Haven? She asked. Jake looked around at the small colony buildings, the distant mountains, and the strange purple sky of the alien world. Might stick around for a while. Seems like a nice place. Quiet. We could use someone. With your skills, Lisa said. The pay isn't great, but we're good people. I'll think about it, Jake said. He climbed into his shuttle but did not start the engines. Good luck with your meeting, Lisa Martinez. As Lisa walked back to prepare for the Zephyrian delegation, she could not stop thinking about Jake Collins. There was something about him that did not quite fit. His tools were too advanced, his knowledge too broad, and his confidence too calm for just another traveling mechanic. But right now, she had a trade negotiation to worry about. The generator was running, the power was stable, and New Haven had a chance at a better future. She had no idea that the quiet mechanic with the gentle smile would soon change her life forever. 3 months had passed since Jake Collins fixed the power generator, and he had become part of life on New Haven. He rented a small workshop near the spaceport and took jobs fixing everything from farming equipment to shuttle engines. The colonists loved him because he never overcharged and always did good work. Lisa found herself spending more and more time with Jake. At first, she told herself it was just because they were both outsiders in a small community. She had grown up on Earth in the big cities while most of the colonists were from farming worlds. Jake seemed to understand what it was like to be different. They started meeting for coffee every morning at Martha's Diner, the only restaurant in the colony. Jake would tell her funny stories about the broken machines he fixed, and Lisa would share news about her work with the colonial administration. She noticed that Jake always seemed interested when she talked about politics or trade negotiations with other worlds. You know a lot about interstellar law for a mechanic, Lisa said one morning, stirring sugar into her coffee. Jake smiled. I read a lot. Long nights in space, you know? Not much else to do between jobs. Lisa accepted this explanation, but she was starting to notice other things about Jake that seemed unusual. His tools were always the newest models, even though he dressed like someone who did not have much money. He knew how to fix alien technology that most human mechanics had never seen. And sometimes, late at night when she walked past his workshop, she could see him working on devices that looked nothing like normal repair jobs. The biggest change came when the pirates attacked. Lisa was working late in the communications center when the alert came through. A convoy of supply ships heading to New Haven had been attacked by Korthak pirates 3 hours away. The convoy security escort was destroyed, and the supply ships were sending desperate calls for help. We have to do something, Lisa told Commander Harris, the colony's security chief. Those supplies include medicine we need for the children's hospital. Commander Harris shook his head. We don't have any ships that can fight pirates. Our security shuttles are only good for keeping order in the colony. Lisa felt helpless. The Korthak pirates were known for being cruel. They would steal the supplies and probably kill the crew members just for fun. But New Haven had no military ships, no weapons that could reach space, and no way to help. That was when Jake appeared in the communications center. I heard about the attack, he said quietly. I might be able to help. Jake, this is a military situation, Commander Harris said. We appreciate the offer, but unless you have a warship hidden somewhere, there's nothing anyone can do. Jake walked over to Lisa's communication console and started typing. Lisa watched in surprise as new screens appeared, showing star charts and ship positions she had never seen before. The colony's old defense satellites are still in orbit, Jake said, pointing at the screen. They were shut down 5 years ago because nobody knew how to maintain them. But they're still up there. Those satellites don't work, Commander Harris said. The targeting systems are broken, and even if they worked, they don't have enough power to hurt a pirate ship. Jake's fingers moved quickly over the controls. More screens appeared, showing technical diagrams and power flow charts. What if I told you I could fix the targeting systems and boost the power output by linking the satellites together? Lisa stared at Jake. You know how to do that? Satellite networks are just big machines, Jake said, and I fix machines. It took Jake 2 hours to bring the defense satellites back online. He worked from Lisa's communication console, his fingers flying over the controls like he was playing a musical instrument. Commander Harris watched in amazement as systems that had been dead for years suddenly came back to life. When the pirates arrived at New Haven expecting to find a helpless colony, they got a very different surprise. The linked satellites fired powerful energy beams that cut through the pirate ships like they were made of paper. The attack was over in minutes. The supply convoy arrived safely the next morning. The crew members were so grateful they offered to pay Jake a reward, but he refused to take any money. How did you know how to do that? Lisa asked Jake as they watched the supply ships unload medical supplies at the spaceport. Jake was quiet for a long moment. I've worked on a lot of different systems over the years. You pick things up. Lisa wanted to ask more questions, but something in Jake's expression told her to wait. He would tell her when he was ready. Over the following weeks, Lisa and Jake grew closer. They started taking walks together in the evenings, talking about everything from books to philosophy to dreams about the future. Jake was smart and funny, and he seemed genuinely interested in everything Lisa had to say. Lisa found herself falling in love with the quiet mechanic who could fix anything and seemed to know secrets about the universe. But strange things kept happening around Jake. When the colony's communication array broke down during a storm, Jake fixed it using parts that should not have existed on a frontier world. When a group of alien traders tried to cheat the colonists in a business deal, Jake somehow knew exactly what laws they were breaking and how to stop them. When a new type of mining equipment arrived that nobody knew how to operate, Jake had it running perfectly within an hour. Sometimes I think you're not really a mechanic, Lisa said one evening as they sat on a hill overlooking the colony. Jake looked at her with his calm brown eyes. What do you think I am? I don't know. Maybe a spy, or a criminal running from something, or maybe you're just too smart to be fixing broken machines on a frontier world. Jake took her hand. What if I told you that I'm exactly where I want to be, doing exactly what I want to do? I'd say you're avoiding the question. Jake smiled. You're right. But Lisa, what matters is that I care about you and I care about this place. The rest is just details. Lisa wanted to push for more answers, but when Jake looked at her like that, she found it hard to think about anything else. She was falling in love, and love made people do foolish things like ignore obvious mysteries. The truth was that Jake Collins was becoming the most important person in her life. Whether he was really a mechanic or something else entirely, she trusted him. He had saved the colony twice now, and he treated everyone with kindness and respect. But late at night, When she lay in bed thinking about the man who could fix impossible problems and seemed to know things he should not know, Lisa wondered what secrets Jake was keeping. She had no idea that those secrets involved the fate of all humanity, or that the quiet mechanic she was falling in love with held the power to change the balance of the entire galaxy. All she knew was that Jake Collins made her feel safe and happy, and that was enough for now. The news came on a Tuesday morning that changed everything on New Haven. Lisa was drinking her coffee with Jake at Martha's Diner when her communication device started beeping with an emergency message. "What is it?" Jake asked, seeing the worried look on Lisa's face. Lisa read the message twice before she could believe it. The Vorthon Empire just demanded tribute from 12 human colonies. They want food, raw materials, and workers. If the colonies don't pay, the Vorthans say they will take what they want by force. Jake's expression became very serious. "Which colonies?" "All the frontier worlds, including New Haven." Lisa's hand shook as she read the rest of the message. "They're calling it the Tributary Decree. Every colony has 30 days to send the first payment or face military action. The Vorthon Empire was known throughout the galaxy as conquerors. They were big, strong aliens who believed that weaker species should serve them. For years they had been taking over planets and forcing the people there to work as slaves. Most species in the galaxy were afraid of the Vorthons because their military was huge and powerful. Humans had avoided trouble with the Vorthons so far by staying in their own part of space. But now the Empire was expanding and human colonies were in their way. "What will the Colony Council decide?" Jake asked. "I don't know. The tribute they want would take everything we have. All our food reserves, all the rare metals we mine, and 20% of our adult population to work in their factories." Lisa felt sick thinking about it. "But if we refuse, they'll send warships. We can't fight the Vorthon Empire." Jake was quiet for a long time. Finally, he said, "Maybe there are options you haven't considered yet." Over the next few days, panic spread through New Haven. Some colonists wanted to pay the tribute and hoped the Vorthans would leave them alone. Others wanted to run away and find a new world to live on. A few brave people talked about fighting, but everyone knew it was hopeless. Lisa worked day and night, sending messages to other colonies and trying to coordinate some kind of response. But the news from other worlds was all bad. Some colonies were already preparing to pay the tribute. Others were evacuating their people. Nobody seemed to have a plan for resistance. Jake helped where he could, but Lisa noticed he seemed distracted. Sometimes she would find him staring at the sky, like he was waiting for something. Other times, she caught him having quiet conversations on his personal communicator with people she never saw. "Who do you keep talking to?" Lisa asked one evening after she saw Jake finish another mysterious conversation. "Old friends," Jake said. "People I used to work with. I'm trying to get information about what's really happening out there." "What kind of information?" Jake hesitated. "Intelligence about Vorthon military movements, their real strength, their plans, the kind of information that might help people make better decisions." Lisa stared at Jake. "How would a mechanic get military intelligence?" "I told you I get around. I know people." It was another non-answer, but Lisa was too worried about the colony to push for more details. She had bigger problems to think about. The worst news came a week later. 3 colonies had tried to refuse the Vorthon demands. Vorthon warships had arrived at those worlds and bombed them from orbit. Thousands of people were dead, and the survivors were being taken away as slaves. That night, Lisa found Jake in his workshop, working on something she had never seen before. It looked like a communication device, but much more advanced than anything the colony had. "Jake, we need to talk," Lisa said. He looked up from his work. "I know. I've been thinking the same thing." They walked to the observation deck at the top of the administration building. New Haven's 3 moons were rising over the mountains, casting strange shadows across the alien landscape. It was a beautiful night, but Lisa could not enjoy it. Everything she cared about was in danger. "I got a message today," Lisa said. "The Colonial Administration wants to promote me. They're offering me a job on Earth working with the Diplomatic Corps. It would mean leaving New Haven in 2 weeks. Jake nodded slowly. "That's a good opportunity." Earth is the safest place for humans right now. I don't want to leave, Lisa said. This is my home. These people are my family. But if the Vorthans come here, she could not finish the sentence. What if I told you there might be another way? Jake said quietly. What do you mean? Jake was quiet for a long moment, looking out at the moons. What if the Vorthans aren't as strong as they want everyone to think? What if there were people working to organize a resistance? Jake, this is the Vorthan Empire. They have conquered dozens of worlds. Their fleet has thousands of ships. Numbers aren't everything. Sometimes the right strategy, the right technology, the right timing can change everything. Lisa looked at Jake carefully. You're talking like you know something specific. Before Jake could answer, his communication device beeped. He looked at the message and his expression became very serious. Lisa, there's something I need to tell you, but not here. Not now. In a few days, everything is going to change. I promise you'll understand then. That's not good enough anymore, Jake. People are dying, colonies are being destroyed. I need to know who you really are. Jake reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. Lisa's heart stopped when she saw it. I was going to wait for a better time, but there might not be a better time, Jake said. He got down on one knee and opened the box. Inside was a simple ring with a small diamond. Lisa Martinez, I love you more than anything in the universe. Will you marry me? Lisa stared at the ring, then at Jake's face. Even with all the mysteries and unanswered questions, she knew she loved him. Whatever secrets he was keeping, whatever danger was coming, she wanted to face it with him. Yes, she said, and Jake slipped the ring onto her finger. They held each other as the moons set behind the mountains. It should have been the happiest moment of Lisa's life, but she could not shake the feeling that everything was about to change. Jake, promise me something, she said. Promise me that after we're married, no more secrets. I need to know who you really are. Jake held her tighter. I promise. After the wedding, you'll know everything. 3 days later, Jake's communication device received a message that made him smile for the first time in weeks. He showed Lisa the screen, but it was just a series of numbers and letters that meant nothing to her. What does it mean? She asked. It means we can have our wedding, Jake said. And it means the Vorthans are about to learn something very important about humanity. Lisa did not understand, but she trusted Jake. They set the wedding date for the following week. Lisa sent messages to her friends on other worlds, inviting them to come to New Haven for the ceremony. She had no idea that her wedding day would become the day that changed the balance of power in the entire galaxy. The morning of the wedding was perfect. New Haven's purple sky was clear and both suns were shining brightly. Lisa stood in her small apartment, looking at herself in the mirror. She wore a simple white dress that Martha from the diner had helped her pick out during a shopping trip to the colony's only clothing store. Her hands shook a little as she put on the engagement ring Jake had given her. In a few hours, she would be married to the man she loved, but she still did not know who he really was. Lisa's sister Amy had arrived from Earth 2 days earlier, along with a few friends from her old job at the Colonial Administration. They were the only family Lisa had left, and she was grateful they had made the long journey to New Haven. You look beautiful, Amy said, adjusting Lisa's hair. Are you nervous? A little, Lisa said. Amy, what would you do if you found out the person you were marrying had been keeping a big secret from you? Amy smiled. I'd ask myself if the secret changed how I felt about them. Does Jake treat you well? Does he make you happy? Do you trust him with your life? Yes to all of that. Then the rest is just details. Love is about choosing to be with someone every day, not about knowing everything about their past. Lisa hoped. Her sister was right. The ceremony was set for sunset in New Haven's community center. It was not a fancy place, just a big room where the colonists held meetings and celebrations. But Martha and the other women had decorated it with flowers from the colony's greenhouse, and someone had strung lights around the walls. Jake was already there when Lisa arrived, wearing a clean black suit that looked expensive. Lisa wondered where a poor mechanic had gotten such nice clothes, but she pushed the thought away. Today was about their future, not his mysterious past. Commander Harris was going to perform the ceremony, since New Haven did not have a real priest or judge. The colonists sat in folding chairs, all dressed in their best clothes. Lisa saw faces she had come to love over the past year. Tom the engineer, Martha from the diner, Dr. Wong from the medical center, and dozens of others who had become like family to her. "Ready?" Jake asked, taking her hand. "Ready," Lisa said. Commander Harris opened his book and began to speak. "We are here today to join Jake Collins and Lisa Martinez in marriage. Marriage is a promise between two people to love and support each other, no matter what challenges life brings." Lisa looked into Jake's eyes and saw love there, but also something else. Worry? Fear? She could not tell. "Jake, do you promise to love Lisa, to be honest with her, and to stand by her side through good times and bad times?" "I do," Jake said. His voice was strong, but Lisa noticed his hands were shaking slightly. "Lisa, do you promise to love Jake, to trust him, and to stand by his side through good times and bad times?" "I do," Lisa said. Commander Harris smiled. "Then by the power given to me by the New Haven Colonial Charter, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Jake, you may kiss your bride." Jake leaned down to kiss Lisa, and the colonists cheered and clapped. It should have been the perfect moment, but just as their lips touched, Jake's communication device started beeping with an emergency alert. Jake pulled back and looked at the device. His face went pale. "What is it?" Lisa asked. Before Jake could answer, someone in the crowd pointed out the window and screamed. Lisa turned to look and gasped. Huge shapes were appearing in the sky above New Haven. Ships, dozens of them, were becoming visible as they dropped out of some kind of invisibility field. They were enormous, bigger than anything Lisa had ever seen. Some looked like human designs, but others were completely alien. The colonists panicked. People started running for the doors, thinking they were under attack. Children cried, and adults shouted questions that no one could answer. "Everyone calm down," Jake shouted in a voice that carried over all the noise. Something in his tone made everyone stop and look at him. "You are not in danger. These ships are here for me." Lisa stared at her new husband. "What do you mean, here for you?" Jake walked to the community center's communication console and entered a long code. Immediately, a voice came through the speakers in perfect formal English. "Admiral Collins, this is Fleet Captain Rodriguez aboard the human defense ship Redemption. All ships are in position and awaiting your orders, sir." The room went completely silent. Lisa felt like the world had stopped spinning. "Admiral Collins?" she whispered. Jake turned to face the crowd of colonists who had just watched him get married. His whole posture had changed. The quiet, humble mechanic was gone. In his place stood someone who radiated authority and confidence. "My real name is Admiral Jacob Collins," he said clearly. "I am the Supreme Commander of the Human Defense Fleet. For the past year, I have been living among you undercover, investigating reports of alien infiltrators and assessing the strategic importance of this colony." Lisa's legs felt weak. She sat down hard in the nearest chair. "But sir," Tom the engineer said, "you fixed our generator. You repaired our satellites. You're a mechanic." Jake smiled, and for a moment, he looked like the gentle man who had been fixing things around the colony. "I am a mechanic. I started as an engineer in the fleet 20 years ago. I like fixing things, and it was the perfect cover for my mission here." Commander Harris stepped forward. "Admiral, why didn't you tell us who you were?" "Because I needed to observe how this colony would handle pressure without outside help. And because," Jake looked at Lisa, "I met someone who made me want to stay longer than my mission required." Lisa stood up slowly. "So our whole relationship was part of your mission?" "No," Jake said firmly. "Lisa, falling in love with you was the most real thing that has ever happened to me. Yes, I came here on a mission, but I stayed because of you. I proposed to you because I love you, not because of any military objective." The voice from the speakers interrupted them. "Admiral, we have Vorthan ships approaching the outer system." They should arrive in approximately 6 hours. Jake pressed a button on the console. Understood, Captain Rodriguez. Begin Phase 1 deployment. I'll be aboard shortly. He turned back to Lisa and the colonists. The Vorthon Empire thinks they can intimidate humanity into paying tribute. They think we are weak because we have been peaceful. They are about to learn how wrong they are. Through the windows, Lisa could see smaller ships launching from the huge vessels in orbit. The sky was full of human military craft, more firepower than she had ever imagined. The fleet has been secretly building strength for 5 years, Jake continued. We have ships and weapons the Vorthons have never seen. We have been waiting for them to make the first move so we could respond with overwhelming force. Lisa looked at the man she had just married. The mechanic who fixed broken machines was actually the most powerful military commander in human space. The humble man who had asked her to marry him controlled a fleet that could change the fate of the galaxy. So what happens now? She asked, quietly. Jake walked over and took her hands. Now I keep my promise to you. No more secrets. You are going to see exactly who your husband really is, and what humanity is truly capable of when someone threatens the people we love. Outside, the human defense fleet prepared for the battle that would reshape the galaxy forever. Lisa sat in stunned silence as Jake spoke into the communication console, giving orders to ship captains across the fleet. His voice was calm and professional, completely different from the gentle mechanic she thought she had married. Around them, the colonists whispered to each other in amazement and fear. Admiral, the Vorthon advance ships will reach the outer planets in 4 hours, came a voice from the speakers. Should we intercept? Negative, Captain. Let them come to us. I want them to see what they're facing before we begin. Jake turned away from the console and looked at Lisa. I know you have questions, all of you do. Let me explain everything. Jake pressed another button, and a large screen appeared on the wall of the community center. It showed a map of the local star systems, with red dots marking Vorthon ships and blue dots marking human vessels. Lisa was shocked to see how many blue dots there were. The human fleet was enormous. 5 years ago, our intelligence services learned that the Vorthon Empire was planning to expand into human space. Jake began. They had already conquered the Zilani, the Court, and a dozen other species. Their pattern was always the same. Demand tribute first, then attack any world that refused. Tom the engineer raised his hand. But why didn't the government warn us? Why keep it secret? Because we needed time to prepare, and we couldn't risk panic, Jake said. The Vorthons have spies everywhere. If they had learned we were building a defense fleet, they would have attacked before we were ready. Dr. Wong spoke up. So you've been lying to everyone for 5 years? Jake's expression became sad. Not lying. Preparing. Every human colony was secretly assigned protection. New Haven was my responsibility. I was supposed to spend 3 months here, assess your defenses, and leave. But he looked at Lisa. Things got complicated. Lisa found her voice. Complicated how? I fell in love with this place, with these people, with you. Jake walked closer to Lisa. My mission was to evaluate whether New Haven was worth defending or if we should evacuate the population. It took me about a week to decide you were all worth protecting. It took me about a month to decide I never wanted to leave. Martha from the diner wiped tears from her eyes. So you really do care about us? This isn't just some military operation. Martha, you gave me free coffee for a year because you thought I was poor. Tom, you treated me like a friend even though you knew I was a better engineer than you. Dr. Wong, you invited me to your daughter's birthday party because you thought I was lonely. Jake's voice became emotional. Every person in this room has shown me kindness. New Haven isn't just another colony to me, it's home. Commander Harris stepped forward. Admiral, I have to ask, how powerful is this fleet? Can we really fight the Vorthon Empire? Jake smiled, and for the first time, Lisa saw real confidence in his expression. The human defense fleet has 847 ships, including 200 of the most advanced warships ever built. We have weapons technology the Vorthons have never seen, and tactics they won't expect. But more importantly, we have something they don't understand. What's that? Lisa asked. We fight for each other. The Vorthons conquer because they're strong, and they enjoy causing fear. Humans fight because we protect the people we love. That makes us stronger than they can imagine. Another voice came through the speakers. Admiral, long-range sensors show the main Vorthon fleet, over 300 ships. They'll be here in 2 hours. Jake pressed the communication button. All ships begin Phase 2 deployment. And Captain Rodriguez, patch me through to the fleet. The R. Screen changed to show the bridge of a massive warship. A woman in a blue uniform appeared, saluting Jake. Admiral on deck, she announced. Fleet ready for your orders, sir. Thank you, Captain. Fleet-wide announcement, please. The screen split to show bridges of dozens of ships. Lisa could see hundreds of human officers and crew members, all waiting for Jake's words. Officers and crew of the Human Defense Fleet, Jake said, his voice carrying to every ship in orbit. Today we face an enemy that has enslaved entire worlds. They think humanity is weak because we prefer peace to war. They think we will surrender because we value life over conquest. They are about to learn that peaceful people can be the most dangerous enemies of all when you threaten what they love. Lisa watched the faces on the screen and saw determination and courage. These people believed in Jake completely. The Vorthons demand tribute from our colonies. They want our food, our resources, and our people. My answer to them is simple. They can try to take these things, but they will find that every human world is defended by people who will never surrender, never retreat, and never abandon each other. A cheer went up from the ship bridges, and Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. This was what real leadership looked like. Jake continued. Some of you are wondering why we waited so long to reveal ourselves, why we let the Vorthons threaten innocent colonies. The answer is that we needed them to show their true nature to the galaxy. Today, when we defeat their fleet, every species in the galaxy will know that the age of Vorthon conquest is over. Sir, Captain Rodriguez said, Vorthon ships are entering the system. They're broadcasting surrender demands to the colony. Jake turned to Lisa and the colonists. Would you like to hear what they're saying? Lisa nodded, even though she was afraid of the answer. The screen changed to show a recording of a Vorthon message. The alien was huge and intimidating, with gray skin and red eyes. When it spoke, its voice was cruel and arrogant. Humans of New Haven, you have 30 minutes to begin loading tribute ships with food, metals, and workers. If you refuse, we will destroy your colony and take what we want from the ruins. The Vorthon Empire does not negotiate with inferior species. The recording ended and Jake was smiling. Captain Rodriguez, please send our response. Yes, sir, channel open. Jake's expression became cold and dangerous. When he spoke, his voice carried absolute authority. Vorthon Fleet, this is Admiral Jacob Collins, Supreme Commander of the Human Defense Fleet. You entered this system uninvited and threatened innocent people. You have 10 minutes to leave human space or face the consequences. This is your only warning. Lisa stared at her husband in amazement. The quiet mechanic who had fixed their generator was talking to the Vorthon Empire like they were children who had misbehaved. A new voice came through the speakers, harsh and alien. Humans, you cannot threaten the Vorthon Empire. We have 300 warships. Surrender now or we will destroy you. Jake laughed. 300 ships, that's all? Captain Rodriguez, show them what they're really facing. The screen changed to show the view from the colony. As Lisa watched, hundreds of human ships became visible in the sky. They had been hiding using the same technology Jake had seen on his first day, but now they were revealing themselves. The Vorthon ships were completely surrounded. Vorthon Fleet, Jake said calmly. You are outnumbered, outgunned, and fighting people who are protecting their homes. You have 5 minutes to retreat. After that, we will show you why enslaving innocent people was the worst mistake the Vorthon Empire ever made. Lisa looked at Jake with new eyes. This was the man she had married, someone who would use the most powerful fleet in the galaxy to protect a small colony on the edge of space. Someone who had given up his real identity for a year, just to make sure the people he cared about were safe. She was married to the most powerful military commander in human space. and he had chosen to spend his wedding day defending her home. The 5 minutes passed in complete silence. Lisa watched the clock on the communication console count down, while Jake stood calmly beside her, his hand resting on her shoulder. Outside the windows of the community center, the sky was filled with human and Vorthan ships facing each other in the growing darkness. "Time's up," Jake said quietly. He pressed the communication button. "Vorthan fleet, this is your final chance. Leave now or face the consequences." The alien voice that came back was full of rage. "Foolish humans, you dare threaten the mighty Vorthan Empire? We will crush your pathetic ships and burn your colony to ash." Jake sighed. "I was hoping they would be smarter than that." He spoke into the console. "All ships, execute Battle Plan Omega. Show them what humanity is capable of." What happened next was like nothing Lisa had ever seen. The human ships moved with perfect coordination, like they were dancing instead of fighting. They surrounded the Vorthan fleet from all directions at once, moving so fast that the alien ships could barely track them. The Vorthan ships were big and powerful, but they were also slow and clumsy. When they fired their weapons, the human ships simply weren't there anymore. The humans attacked with precision, hitting exactly the right spots to disable Vorthan ships without destroying them completely. "Why aren't we just blowing them up?" Commander Harris asked. "Because we're not like them," Jake replied. "We disable their ships and capture their crews. Dead enemies can't learn from their mistakes or tell others what they've seen here today." Lisa watched in amazement as the battle unfolded. The Vorthan Empire had conquered dozens of worlds with these same ships. But against the human defense fleet, they looked helpless. In 30 minutes, half of the Vorthan fleet was disabled and drifting in space. "Sir," came Captain Rodriguez's voice, "the Vorthan commander is requesting to speak with you." "Put him through," Jake said. The screen showed a Vorthan bridge where alien officers looked shocked and afraid. The Vorthan commander was bigger than the others, with scars on his gray face and fury in his red eyes. "Human commander," the alien growled. "Your ships fight with cowards' tactics. Face us in honorable combat." Jake smiled coldly. "There is no honor in threatening innocent colonies. There is no honor in demanding tribute from people who want to live in peace. You came here to enslave or kill everyone I care about. Why should I give you an honorable fight? Because the Vorthan Empire has ruled this galaxy for 1,000 years. We are the strongest." "You were the strongest," Jake corrected. "But strength without wisdom is just brutality, and brutality always loses to intelligence in the end." Lisa watched Jake command the battle with calm efficiency. He never raised his voice or showed anger, even when the Vorthans tried desperate attacks against the colony. The human ships protected New Haven perfectly, stopping every missile and energy beam before they could reach the ground. "Admiral," came another voice from the fleet, "we're receiving surrender requests from 67 Vorthan ships. What are your orders?" "Accept their surrender and take them into custody. Treat the crews well. They're prisoners of war, not slaves." Jake looked at the Vorthan commander on the screen. "Unlike your empire, we don't believe in making people suffer just because we can." The battle was over in less than 2 hours. Of the 300 Vorthan ships that had attacked New Haven, more than 200 were captured or disabled. The rest had fled back toward Vorthan space. Not a single human ship was destroyed and only a few were damaged. But Jake wasn't finished. "Captain Rodriguez, patch me through to the entire galaxy. Emergency broadcast on all frequencies." "Sir, that will reach every world, every species, every government in known space." "That's exactly what I want." The screen changed to show Jake standing in the New Haven Community Center, still wearing his wedding suit. Behind him, Lisa could see the colonists in the windows showing the captured Vorthan fleet. "People of the galaxy," Jake began. "My name is Admiral Jacob Collins of the Human Defense Fleet. Today, the Vorthan Empire attacked this peaceful colony and demanded that we surrender our freedom, our resources, and our people to serve as slaves." Lisa realized that billions of beings across the galaxy were watching her husband speak. For too long, the galaxy has lived in fear of Vorthan aggression. Species have been conquered, enslaved, or destroyed because the Vorthans believed might makes right. Today, that age of fear ends. Jake gestured toward the window where disabled Vorthan ships drifted in space. The Vorthon war fleet that terrorized this galaxy for centuries has been defeated by humans who fight not for conquest, but for the protection of those we love. We did not destroy their ships or kill their crews, because we are not conquerors. We are defenders. The camera showed the faces of the New Haven colonists, ordinary people who had watched their quiet mechanic reveal himself as humanity's greatest military leader. To every enslaved world, every conquered people, every species, living under Vorthon oppression, your liberation begins today. The human defense fleet is coming to free you, not to rule you. We ask nothing in return except that you live in peace and never again bow to those who would enslave you. Jake's voice became harder. To the Vorthon Empire, your age of conquest is over. Withdraw from every world you have invaded. Release every slave you have taken. Return every resource you have stolen. If you do this, you may return to your own worlds and live in peace. If you refuse, you will face the full might of humanity, and we will free every one of your victims ourselves. Lisa felt tears in her eyes as she watched her husband speak for all of humanity. This was bigger than just protecting New Haven. Jake was offering freedom to the entire galaxy. To every peaceful species watching this broadcast, humanity offers you friendship, trade, and protection. We do not seek to rule others, but we will never again allow the strong to prey upon the weak. The galaxy belongs to all of us, not just to those with the biggest armies. Jake looked directly into the camera. The Vorthon Empire built their power on fear and cruelty. Humanity will build our legacy on hope and justice. This is not the end of their story or ours. It is the beginning of a new age where freedom matters more than power, and where those who protect the innocent are stronger than those who prey upon them. The broadcast ended, and the community center fell silent. Outside, the human fleet began the work of freeing captured slaves from the Vorthon ships and sending aid to colonies that had been attacked. Lisa walked over to Jake and took his hand. So what happens now? Jake smiled and kissed her forehead. Now we go on our honeymoon. Captain Rodriguez can handle the cleanup here. He looked around at the colonists who had become his family. After that, we come home to New Haven. I promised. These people I'd keep fixing their broken machines, and I always keep my promises. Martha from the diner started crying happy tears. You mean you're staying? Where else would I go? Jake said, putting his arm around Lisa. My wife is here, my friends are here, and somebody has to make sure that generator keeps running. As Lisa looked out at the stars where human ships were beginning the greatest rescue mission in galactic history, she realized she had married not just a man, but a hero who would reshape the universe while still caring enough to fix a broken generator for people he loved. The age of Vorthon tyranny was over. The age of human protection had begun. And it all started with a quiet mechanic who fell in love on a small colony at the edge of space.